What the hell is this?
Hello there, Plague Von Karma here, back with another episode of RBY Bytes. It's no secret that Pokemon had some very humble beginnings. Gen 1 is very, very buggy, but in what's honestly the best way possible. Personally, I'd compare it to Super Smash Bros. Melee with how cool some of the glitched battle mechanics can be. For the first game that was made by its director, it's got some fantastic depth that's bolstered by, like, tons of glitches. Like, you remember MissingNo? That's cool as hell. But obviously, there are some things that make the fabric of reality just break before your eyes. So today, we're going over just that. The most blatantly broken move in Gen 1. Psywave. While other videos about this move do exist, few of them go into the nitty-gritty, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So I suppose Psywave is one of the best examples of a move that can cause a link battle to desync, as we call it in the RBY community. But what do we mean by this though? Well, it's fairly simple. Gen 1 doesn't do link battles with full parity. There are some incredibly minor inconsistencies that can lead to different results on both ends, and sometimes this can lead to the games gradually moving away from each other due to differing RNG calls. Like, you know, Pokemon facing on one side, stuff like that. This is due to the link battle system being rushed during development, and, you know, it was one of the last features added to the game, it makes sense. Psywave has a pretty blatant problem that causes this to happen. On one side, Psywave's damage range is set to be between 1 and 1.5 times the user's level, while on the other side, it's set to be between 0 and 1.5 times the user's level. So assuming your Pokemon is level 100, Psywave will always have a 0.622% chance of dealing 1 damage on one side and 0 on the other. So how can we make use of this knowledge? Well, if you want the maximum chance to legally cause a desync, you'll want to find a level 3 Jigglypuff on Route 3, specifically in Red and Blue. This is the lowest level you can find a Pokemon with access to Psywave in the first generation. Jigglypuff will deal 0 to 4 damage, or 1 to 4 damage depending on each side, giving us a 20% chance of causing Psywave to desync. Now all we need is a friend to play with, and if you're losing, you can just force a draw by causing a desync. How about that? This glitch was initially documented by Crystal in 2015, with a video accompanying it. Nothing was done about it for a while though, as it was generally considered to be too minor to deal with. However, Psywave was eventually banned on Pokemon Perfect in 2017 with the aim of increasing cartridge accuracy, though Smogon never officially enforced this outside of tournaments run by Lutra. This ban caused a large amount of debate, because some just believed that it wasn't what the developers intended, so it may make more sense to just mod out the issue. At the time this didn't make sense, but more desyncs were gradually discovered. The most notable of this is Counter, a valuable move in competitive play, having incredibly flawed mechanics that made it desync in a myriad of scenarios, even coming down to hovering over moves. There were also issues with thawing without having a prior move logged, and then also, like, you know, mirror move with trapping and more. Due to this, the policy on desyncs was re-evaluated in the community, with Smogon eventually suspect testing Counter on this basis in 2020. The test had a few flaws that led to voting issues, but eventually it was voted to be patched instead of banned. This led to the creation of Desync Clause mod. In the event a move that would cause a desync or otherwise break the game would occur, it will be made to fail. This technically works in RBY given the 1-256 uncertainty, just making the probability fixed in a sense. Given some desyncs could result in banning literally every fire-type move in the game, and few players play on cartridge, patching did eventually make sense. Regardless, it remains a subject of debate. However, this did mean Psywave could be unbanned, and on August 16, 2020, it was unofficially released by Smogon's RBY Council alongside other rulings. And with that, soon enough, Psywave was patched on Pokemon Showdown. By me. So what effects did this pseudo-release have? Well, a few people started testing it out, and it managed to find some utility. So, let's go over what the patch did to it first. Since Psywave has that chance of causing a desync, it's effectively lowering its accuracy. With Desync Clause mod, the 256 accuracy uncertainty, and assuming the user level 100, Psywave's effective accuracy comes to 79.03%. This averages out its damage per turn to about 60 if we consider the damage to be the middle ground of 75. This makes Psywave, well, pretty bad. Regardless, some Pokemon have had such poor offensive stats that it can actually find a use sometimes. To find a use for Psywave, you have to sit there and see if Psychic's average damage is less than 60 against a resisting target. This is very specific and difficult, but Gen 1 players are crazy and experiment with everything. So, Psywave was basically like a new toy to us, so we just went, alright, let's figure this out. The most notable use case is in Enu. Execute is one of the few Pokemon capable of staving off Mr. Mime. With access to Sleep Power Stun Spore along with its resistances, it's a common sight on balance teams. Because its damage output is so low, however, it can't really damage Mr. Mime without Psywave, so some teams will use it to get some remotely consistent damage. Butterfree actually uses Psywave in UU as well, which it has a niche in as a double powder user that outspeeds Hypno while being immune to Dugtra's Earthquake. Due to its damage being incredibly low, to the point Hypno or Kadabra could really just sit there and wake up, it uses Psywave to deal more damage on average, thus being able to potentially force them out. The final use case is a concept that isn't yet finished. Porygon finds uses a Snorlax check frequently and overused, and in Ubers this remains the case. You can find more info on its OU antics in my Porygon video, but in Ubers it's also capable of walling Mew with Reflect. Its offensive presence is comically low, but Psywave alleviates this, letting Porygon inflict some damage on Mew without being laughed at. Few Pokemon can achieve this while also having a strong support move pool, so Porygon's niche in Ubers could potentially rise. These are the only 3 use cases that I know of, and they're all extremely niche, but it's nice seeing Desync Claw's mod encourage some extra creativity in competitive RBY. Thanks to Enigami for helping with some of these. He's truly a mad scientist and deserves a lot more appreciation for the stuff he does in the community. This was PlagueVon Karma, and I'll see you all in the next video.